What's up? I am Randy Winter with the Red Jumpsuit Apparatus. We're going to talk gear. These are my guitars. This is Rick James. This is Elvis. They are custom Schecter baritones. We've modified them and put baritone necks on them. Well, the pickups these are just Seymour Duncans. They're real hot and nice. You've got plenty of gas if you want it. I'm rhythm, so I don't really need too much. It's all about the tonality for me. I'm not dive bombing like Mr. Burke over there. Really, the baritone neck is what really makes these guitars special. Being in a lower tuning, a baritone neck allows you to keep tighter tension on the strings, so you're not constantly having to tune your guitar every 5 seconds. So for me, I could actually go 2 or 3 songs and not even really touch it unless I just hear something out. That's how awesome they are. I mean, you can travel 4 or 5 hours, pull out of the case, and it's probably still in tune. The difference is because of the neck. It's longer. It's 28 inches versus 26 or 24 and a quarter. Those are normal standards. So that's the difference. Well, this particular model has more of a vintage look. I'm kind of more trying to stick with things that look a little bit more timeless. So, it looks like it's been around the block, which these have not necessarily been around the block, but they just have that look, like almost like the old Dano Electro style. So I'm into that. And those are baritones as well. That's pretty much what drew me into these models, and the fact that that Schecter was willing to be exploring. That's one of the best things about Schecter is they literally will customize the thing from nut to bolt, head to toe, whatever you want. So when they picked us up, Josh and I, we were extremely stoked, and they're super generous, and we've got so many guitars from them. It's just not even funny. But, so we have an arsenal, but these are the babies that go out on the road. Then at home, I have an arsenal that we use in our studio for different albums and different types of songs and different parts. You might just use one guitar for just one section of a song even. Generally, the key of the guitar is actually what you would say drop C, which is standard D, drop down a full step on the top string. So they call it drop C typically. However, all the songs are in different keys, so they're transposed to different sections on the fretboard. We are endorsed with D'Addario. We've been with them for a while, so that's what we use. I love them. They've been great. I've never had a problem with them. Again, they're just very durable and strong. It's rare for me to break one unless I'm just feeling it and I'm abusing it. That's typically when I'll break it on accident. Josh, he's a lead player, so he's playing 12. So I'm, because it's a baritone, you need a thicker gauge string so it stays tight. You feel it, you can tell a difference. Normally on a shorter neck, it's a lot looser. This almost feels like you're playing on a standard. It's very tight for being so dropped. The first one that they sent me, they accidentally tuned it an entire octave lower. That's how much you can do with a baritone neck being that far. We had to send it back because it's only supposed to be a step lower. It was pretty wild. I was like so excited to get these brand new guitars, and it was like right before Christmas I pulled it out. I was like, holy crap, this is an entire octave low. I didn't even think you could do that. It's wild. Yeah, so you have basic volume, tone, and then these are for different sections. Like if you're playing in clean, I'll activate different ones, but I tend to like have a little bit more chunkier sound, so I usually use the front two, but every once in a while I'll pop it back and forth. Right now it's actually on the back because Graham Goodbye is a heavy song, and that's the one we played last, so you want that beefcake, and it definitely has all that if you want it. Recently Josh actually discovered a drop pedal that is a newer pedal that's polyphony based, which is much better than the previous, which were pitch shifting. I'm an engineer, so in the studio you tend to use a lot of different tools, and sometimes you're shifting keys up and down, and studio wise it's pretty common to do stuff like that. But live, I'd never actually had a hardware piece that was consistent to me to be worthy to be used. So he picked it up, and I heard him playing it, and it sounded very, very reliable and consistent in key. So then I picked one up and hammered it for like 3 hours straight, up and down, and just checked it out, recorded it, looked at it, checked the tuning, and it's very consistent. So that's what I've been using now. So now actually, instead of having to take all these different guitars, I just take these two. They're both in tune to the exact same key, and I drop to wherever I want to be. Okay, so as far as what I'm using live, a lot of people, they'll have an arsenal, a rack of things over the years, 10 plus years of touring. I've actually minimized to more just vintage, solid gear. So I'm a PV guy. They've treated us right. So I've been using 6.5, 3.4 plus for quite a while now, 5 years. and it's incredible. TV cab, and then this is my backup, Wagner. The Ubershalls are super gnarly, great distortion. It's not quite Peavy, but it definitely has that vintage thick sound if you want it. So it's incredible backup head. Most people would use this as a primary head, but it is normally a boutique head, so you normally wouldn't even take it on the road. So that's kind of a luxury having that on the road with us. We also have a second that he has for backup as well. So with this particular head, being a rhythm guitarist, normally you'll have an effects pedal running through loop effects, and which enables you to use the head distortion and then also your effects. So you would enable your effects on or off. However, I don't do that. So it's very simple. It's clean or distortion. So I dial in the head, make sure the tone is great, and flip back, from clean or distortion. I'm not really a fan of using pedal distortion. There are some good processes out there, so I'm not against them. But live, I really like the vintage head distortion that comes out of the head. That's why it was made to do that. So that's a lot, what I do. And then as far as over here, again, there's not this extravagant pedal board. It's not necessary. Use the head distortion. So you have your good old Boss tuner. These guys are as reliable as it gets. Noise suppressor, so if the noise gets out of control, sometimes depending on the venue and the frequencies, you can engage this off or on. If you overdo this, you'll accidentally take the dynamics out, so you have to be careful with that. These are the drop pedals that are polyphony based. They're very accurate. So, like I said, in the past there was a lot of terrible models, and not necessarily by Digitech, but by other brands. And you can get away with maybe a step or two, but these are very, very reliable. You can even, as an engineer, I've already tested. I've recorded it, tested it, looked at it on a spectral analysis, and it is quite in tune. The entire thing is linear bass, and it drops semitones. So once it's locked in, it's locked in. So it works very well. If you're a lead player, it's still going to do great. So you have different modes. Something that if you want to temporarily change, you can you'd have it like this. And then you step up or step down. It's that simple. This is just a basic PV cab, very reliable. It can take all the gas you give it. A lot of heads will start to vibrate out and just kind of lose it. And sometimes the arms are not so evenly distributed. You'll see the engineers as they're setting up the mics, trying to figure out which one's more accurate. That's not good. They should all be putting out the same wattage. So if you're having that problem, then you should seriously contemplate checking your wiring.
Hi, I'm Josh Burke from Red Jumpsuit Apparatus, and I'm going to show you my rig. Alright, so to start, right here I have a PB6505 Plus. I took out the grill right here. Me and Pops and my father kind of worked on this. We like to have fun with building rigs and stuff like this. So I took out the grill right here because it would get a little hot with the shock-mounted foam and stuff. And then Pops decided to have a little more fun than I was expecting and put an LED light. So as you can see, it's kind of just fading. It's pretty sweet, I guess you'd say. It's pretty flamboyant. It's badass. I really enjoy it. With my clean channel, which is this channel right here, I just basically have it set up to where it's like nice and bright and really kind of pretty sounding. And actually half the clean sound comes from the pedals, which we'll get to in a second. And then my dirty lead channel right here, as you can see, the pre's only at about 5.5. I don't really crank the gain too much because it's already such a high gain head. It's 120 watts at Fury. So I don't really mess with it too much. I have some pedals to help me out with that for when I want to, do some dive bombs or something like that. So that's the head. And then inside drawer number 1, we got some pedals. These are all going to a GCX audio switcher, all controlled by my Ground Control Pro right there. That way I don't have to tap dance around and select a bunch of pedals already pre-selected for each channel for each song. So right here we have a Boss DD3 digital delay. This is mainly just for my leads, like lead soloing, just so I can get that quick meow, just trying to fill in the spaces a little bit, And then we got the Black Label Chorus. I really only use this on clean channel because it really adds some fatness to the clean. And I really love how this sounds. It's fantastic. Digital reverb, kind of the same deal with the digital delay. Just have something to kind of fill in the spaces. I find this is really clean, really nice. And then these two are my crankers right here for when I want to really boost up either volume, output, gain, whatever for any kind of shredding part in the set. We got the Wild Overdrive by MXR and the MXR Micro Amp. both great pedals. And then the last but not least, this guy's really important. I love this. MXR Smart Gate. This is basically a noise suppressor. You know, it makes it so that if I stop in the middle of a solo, I'm not going to go. You know, you don't have that ugly fizz and all that. So that really eliminates that. And that's drawer number 1. Yay! And then drawer number 2, we have the Voodoo Lab control switcher. This just makes it so that I can only press one thing. It'll activate the pedals and the different channels. So clean to dirty, etc., crunch, whatever. This is powering all the pedals. It's the MXR ISO brick. This thing's great. I freaking love it. So many outputs on the back, more than I even need. And then a lazy guitarist's best friend, the Digitech drop pedal. This basically, we play in the set, we go from drop C to drop B a lot. And it'll be like one song of drop B, back to drop C, and then back to drop B. So I just find it so much easier to just make a channel with the drop pedal on. That way I don't have to change guitars all the time, you know? So that's worked out a lot, and there's no latency on this, really. It's a great pedal. It doesn't affect the tone, really, so I really like that. But yeah, that's the rig. And then here is a PV6505 cab. Basic PV stock cab, nothing crazy done to it. It just has balls, I gotta say. Yeah. So right here, I haven't named the channels yet because I literally just got this thing. It's a Ground Control Pro by Voodoo Lab. They've been a great help. You can call them anytime and they'll walk you through it. And basically, each one of these represents a pedal. So right now, this is chorus and reverb for clean channels. So I go to clean, to rhythm. All that rhythm has is no suppressor. Should label these, but whatever. And then lead. This basically makes it so that I don't have to tap dance around, because all those light up little things like 4, 2, 1, 5, and 6, I would have to hit right before playing a solo, and then have to turn off getting back. So that was a real pain, and I figured I'm over it, so I upgraded. And then this guy right here, this guy's a beast. This is the DD20 Giga Delay by Boss. I really enjoy this thing. It has multiple presets right here. We're in memory right now. So you can either do tap tempo or go to your presets. I have presets for, this one's Guardian Angel, this one's Cat and Mouse. This one's for a song I wrote, and this one's for leads, but I don't really use that now that I have the one at the back. So yeah, it's just sweet. You can either do tap tempo or preset tempo, so it's exact. And then this is the TU3 chromatic tuner, industry standard. I feel like everyone and their mother has that tuner right now. So. Over here we have guitars, of course. I only have 3 out this time, but Schecter has given us so many, it's ridiculous. They're great to us. Right here, I have a Hellraiser. It's got Sustainiac, which is great. It really gives you that evil sound, you know, without having to dig deep. This is just an EMG active pickup, super hot, always ready to go. This is one of my mains for sure. I love this thing. Holds tuning great. Floyd Rose bridge, great for the dive bombs and all that. The main thing that drew me to this guitar, honestly, was the fact that I have another Hellraiser at home that's black, and that's been my main for so long. But it's toured so heavy that it's kind of been wearing down over the years. I mean, I've been touring this thing since 2011, and I absolutely love it. So I figured I might as well get a new one. And I really like the Sustainiac, and it's kind of a relatively new thing that Schecter, not really new, but new at the time that Schecter had released. So I figured if I'm going to get another one, I might as well get a different color, and I might as well get the Sustainiac option. So that's really all that drew it to me, is I wanted a very similar guitar to the one that I really, really love, but kind of slightly wore down over time, that's all. These knobs, this is tone, this is the bridge pickup, or excuse me, this is the neck pickup, and this is the bridge. Basically, these are usually just about always up, honestly, because we're kind of a high gain band. We have the kind of metal tone, rock and roll tone. These right here are to activate the Sustainiac. So this will turn it on, and this will make it different pitches. So I usually have it on the really high pitch because it's really evil sounding. It's super sweet. I really enjoy that. And then this is just toggle switch, bridge to neck pickup, typical. Sweet picks right here, chunkiness right there. All right, so this is the war horse of this tour for sure. This is a matte black C1 custom, I believe. And we got the Jimmy clip right there. I'm gonna shout out to my boy Jim Robbins. You're the man, dude. This thing freaking rules. It basically, I might as well tell the function of it. Basically, if you're doing any kind of chunkiness with a really thick string. For example, like if I'm going to the and I needed to mute right away, anytime you mute it, even if it's on a record or anything, it'll kind of have that hum still. It'll be like dun, you know, just even for a millisecond. I can't really describe it. It's hard to hear, but it is definitely there. This completely makes it so that the second you want the thing to choke and just stop, it'll just immediately stop, like no matter what. So this is a great invention. A lot of people back in the day used to use tape. I know in the studio, a lot of people, we went to Dave Bennett's, and you know, world-class studio and stuff, and we were using tape because we had nothing like this. It's either tape or foam. I see foam a lot. This is the way to go. I know Lee from Bring Me the Horizon uses this now, and yeah, shout out to Jim. Fantastic invention. But this is the Warhorse right here. These are just Schecter custom shop pickups. They're passive, but they sound so aggressive and just so sweet. If anything, this guitar, the reason why I'm mainly using this guitar is because this one sounds the most like the record. This one's just really sounds just like it. So that's why I love it. It's no batteries, obviously, because it's passive, and I love that. Right here we have some locking tuners. These are great by Schecter right here. So yeah, it doesn't go out of tune very often. There's no fluctuation, you know? Right now on these, I'm using a Diodario 12 gauge. I just really like how they feel. Plain and simple, to be honest with you. And it doesn't hurt that we have an endorsement with them, so that's great. Then this guy right here is probably one of the prettier guitars I own. He's been toured on a lot back in the day. Solo Custom 3. I got this back in 2012, I believe, maybe 2013. Locking tuners, just like the other one. But as similar as this guitar is to the Hellraiser model I have right there, in matte black, it sounds so different. This one is much more, I would say, retro sounding, if anything. It sounds definitely more old school, kind of like, I don't know how to describe it. I don't know, just not as metal. But it still works. That's not a bad thing. It has its own brightness to it. But yeah, this thing sounds freaking great. I love this thing. Really pretty. Gold hardware. Diodario 12 gauges, once again. I do. It's actually the first night of tour, so I don't know, that Hellraiser matte black guitar right there was just doing it for me tonight. So I just did the whole set with that. It's kind of whatever I feel, you know? If I feel like picking this up, or if I feel like playing the whole set with this, I'm pretty inconsistent. It depends on my mood, I guess. I guess you could say I'll probably be using the matte one most of the tour, just because, like I said, it sounds so similar to the record. Like, it's got that thing to it. It's got that dark, it's a really dark sound, pretty aggressive, but not overloaded with like hotness, not too much hotness, you know? I don't like when it pickups too hot and gives me any kind of feedback. I hate that, so it's the perfect blend. This is definitely a little bit brighter and a little bit less brutal, so.
Cool, I'm Joey from Red Jumpsuit. I play bass with these guys, with all these goons, called the Red Jumpsuit Apparatus. This is my bass I'm using right now. It's just a Fender, your typical Fender P 4-string. My volume knob and my tone knob are pretty much jammed in there for good, so there's no turning those guys. But I do check once in a while. They're up to the max, so it's good. Also, on my Sans amp, my level knob is broken, so I have no control over volume. Like, it gets plugged in and it works great. These are Diodario strings. Thank you, Diodario, for hooking me up. And I got these are just these are 110s, and they're pretty thick. We dropped, I'm sure they told you, but C tuning, sometimes B tuning, so gotta have a little bit of a thicker string. I'd be down to go like 250, but I'll stick with the 110s. Well, for Red Jumpsuit, it's pretty like, just like rock and roll kind of stuff. So I like a little bit of fuzz, a little bit of loudness. So I actually just got this Ampeg today in Chicago. Actually, this bass is also from Chicago. So, all right. Sans amp, honestly, is like a lot of bass players will probably tell you, I guess, at least this kind of music. It's my baby, it's my go-to. I played shows even without any of this and just a Sans amp, but overall it's really nice to have an Ampeg behind me just pumping through. PV hooking up with this beautiful Tour Series 700 head, and I love it. And I really don't like having a tube head on the road because I've just gone through too much BS with them. So this works out great, and this is the box I have it in. The box that it came in. This touring case is just something you've never seen. Something you guys don't know about. for the most part, what I don't use is like anything besides this EQ. I keep the high pretty low on this and the low pretty high. But I do like same thing on my Sans amp, but keep the drive a little more up just to kind of give it the kong kong kong. Man, this Cosmo stuff I'm not about it. I just really like having this post gain high, drive a little bit, Sans amp where it's at. Life's good to go with that. Yeah, man, I mean, it's pretty simple Red Jumpsuit stuff. You want to hear it real quick? You guys ready for the show tonight? It rules, dude. It really does rule. Thanks for checking out all the Red Jumpsuit gear. I know Josh is super excited about all his new great stuff. And you can check us out on like
Facebook.com/redjumpsuit or redjumpsuit.com and see our tour dates and come on out and say hi. Bing, 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 bong.
Bing Bing Bong.